So the iPhone 16 and iPhone 16 Pro are here, and it's not always easy when it comes to obtain the best image quality out of its camera. That's what we are going to talk about today. We are going to talk about the new camera control, the camera app, the new photographic style option, and I will walk you through the best camera setting that you can use with your iPhone. And at the end, I will show you how I connect my SSD with the camera. Some of these settings are available to our iPhone, but some of them might be available only through the iPhone 16 Pro model. Just see if you have those settings on your iPhone setting app. So let's start with the camera control button. Apple introduced this button to help to control the setting of the camera like a real camera. To start the camera application, press twice on the camera control button. Now it started. To access this setting, you have to press twice on the button. Now we have camera. We'll start from left to right. You have the exposure, depth, zoom, camera, style, and tone. In the exposure, if I press again, if we slide down from right to left, we can adjust the exposure. I put it at -2. If I press again, next the depth. If I say it works only if we are in portrait mode. Okay, the depth is not available in video mode. It works only if we are in portrait mode or in photo mode. Okay, next we have the zoom. You can change the zoom. If you are not on the same of like 1x camera, 2x camera, or 5x camera, or 0.5x camera, use a digital zoom. This is not very good because you will lose a lot of quality on your video or photo. The next one is the camera. This is the one I prefer. Now we can go from left to right. We have the 0.5x, 1x, 2x, and 5x. Usually I go with the 1x or 2x. This is where you're going to have the better quality. In video, the style, they are not working. So this is why they are not working. If we go in photo mode, now we're in style. We have standard style. This will change the color of the scene and you can do some adjustment in it. I put it back in standard. And we have the tone to adjust the tone of the photo. I tried to use the button and I found that it's not easy to adjust the setting with it because of its location, and we have to press R to switch between the setting. Every time you press the button, it causes the camera to move. This is why I don't use it, and I will show you how to disable it in setting. Hey, don't forget to subscribe, like, and drop a comment down below. It's going to be very appreciated. Thank you. Okay, we are ready to do the setting for the camera button. Go in setting, accessibility, and there we're going to scroll down to camera control. Here we have different options for the camera control. The first on the top is if we want to disable it, we just have to click on this button and the camera control will do nothing. The next one, we have the show adjustment. This button is for if you want to do the adjustment from the camera button. Me, I don't like it. I prefer to keep just the camera control and not use the show adjustment. You have lighter, default, and firmer, and you have also the option how fast you click on the button. Now we go back. Now we'll start to do the camera setting back again. We go on camera. The first setting we have is for the camera control. By default is on camera, the Apple camera, but you have different options depending which application you have on your iPhone. Me, I have also the Pro camera that is available, but I prefer to leave it with camera. You can also do a code scanner, Instagram, or magnifier. If the camera starts too often because you touch the button, you can have it at double click. but for the moment I do not have too much trouble with it, and I leave it at single click. The next option we have is the photographic style. Okay, I didn't set it because I prefer to do my color correction in the software. I use DaVinci Resolve 19 for the moment, but I leave it to standard for the moment. In the record video, by default, I shoot at 4K 24 frames per second. Sometime for YouTube, so I want to slow down a little bit, I can shoot at 30 frames per second at 4K. So like this in post, I can slow it a little bit. Or if there is a lot of motion or I walk with the iPhone, very often I shoot at 4K 60 frames per second. And if you want to do real slow motion, the big one, 4K 120 frames per second. But the next option is Spacial. I am in Canada, so I don't need it. And stabilization. This will help to stabilize your video. It will crop a little bit, but it's good to have it. Action mode and low light. This mode will decrease the stabilization a little bit to help you to have more light in your video when it's too dark. HDR video, I don't use it. It's good if you keep your video on your iPhone, but if you bring your video with another, like a Windows application, so something like this, the color will be awful. Auto FPS, we don't use it because when you do editing, you want to have your video at all the same speed. You don't want to have different speed in your video. Lock camera, this will prevent the iPhone to change the camera when you're recording. And lock white balance, also it prevents to change the white balance when you're recording. The next setting, record slow-mo. By default, I leave it at 4K 120 frames per second. Record cinematic. We want to have cinematic video, so I shoot it at 4K 24 frames per second. This is where you're gonna have the more motion blur with your video. In the record sound, I enable Spacial audio. This is enabled by default. This is a new thing with Apple. It recorded with the 4 microphone in the environment. And in the editing, you have the option to choose where the sound is coming from. I leave it at on. If I don't like it in the future, I can change it to stereo or mono. But most of the time, I have an external microphone where I record with it. Most of the time, I record interview and I record it in mono. For the audio playback, I leave it at on, and the wind noise reduction, I leave it at on also. Okay, now the format. In this option, we have a lot of things. By default, I leave high efficiency on, HEIF and HEVC for the video. This is a good quality codec, and in video, it shoots at H.265 is good. Sometimes it's a little bit hard on the computer, depending on your computer. For the photo mode, you have the option at 12 or 24 meg. I leave it at 24 because I prefer to have the better quality. For the ProRAW resolution, I leave it at on, and the Pro Default, I leave it at ProRAW Max, 48 meg. The files are bigger. Sometimes a photo could be close to 100 meg. You have a lot of information in it. If you need to do editing, it's going to be easier. In video capture, I enable Apple ProRes and I shoot in log. The files are huge, but we have a lot of quality for color grading. If you want to shoot at 60 frames per second or 120 frames per second, you're going to need an SSD connected to your phone because it won't let you save it on the internal disk unless you shoot in HEVC, where you can save it locally at 120 frames per second. Okay, now we are at the preserve setting. The camera mode will preserve the last setting in the option for the camera. If in video before, it's going to stay in video, and if you are in photo, it's going to come back in photo. The control menu, I'll leave it at on because it preserves the last setting also for the menu. Photographic style, I don't use it. I prefer to do it in the edit mode if I have to. Creative control is the same thing. The depth control, I prefer to do it manually in post. Macro control, I leave it at on because it preserves the macro setting that we have before. Exposure adjustment, also I leave it at on. It's always good to keep the setting. The night mode, I leave it at on because if it's too dark, automatically it will go in night mode to have a better result. The portrait zoom, I leave it at on. I don't use it very often, but it's always good to have it. Action mode, I leave it off because I can enable it in the camera application. ProRAW and resolution control, Apple ProRes and live photo, I leave them at on because I can change the setting in the camera app. Okay, that's it for the preserve setting. The option for use volume up for burst, I disable it because I prefer to take only one photo at a time. If I need it, I can enable it later. Scan QR code, I leave it at on, and show the text. And the same thing, I leave it at on. This could be useful. The next thing is going to be the composition option. The grid is always good to have it. This will help you to compose your photo or video. The level, I enable it because if you want to have your phone straight on one side or the other one, it helps you to have it like this. I can show it to you in the app. See the level, okay, like this. You can see it. When it's straight, you have a yellow line, and on the other side, it's going to be the same thing. And also you can see the grid on the screen. Go back in setting, mirror front camera, I leave it at on, and view outside the frame also. This is going to help you if you want to take a photo to see what you have just outside the frame. In the photo capture option, you have the fusion camera. It works with the 1x lens, where you can toggle between the 24mm, 28 or 35mm. The default, I use the 24mm, but if I want to change it in the photo mode, I can tap on it. See, now I am 1.2x. If I tap again, I am in 35mm, and tap again, I go in the 24mm. Okay, the button photo mode, I leave it on. Prioritize faster shooting and disable it because it will reduce a little bit the image quality to take a photo faster. Lens correction, I leave it on. Macro control is on. Now we're ready to start with the setting inside the camera app. First thing we're gonna in photo. Now we have video, and I will go back in photo mode. I will start with the photo mode. On the top left, you have the flash setting. If you want to enable or disable the flash. The other setting, if you want to shoot in night mode, because now I think there is not enough light to take a photo, so this is why you can see it. But if I bring it up here where we have enough light, the night mode will disappear. And the next one is for the exposure. By default, I set it at minus 0.3 or minus 0.7. This will keep the setting by default that you set up because we enable the preserve setting in the camera. The next one is a small arrow here. This will bring all the possible settings that you have for the photo application. On the left, you have the flash, the night mode. Now it's on auto, but you can enable it if you try to adjust it. The other setting that we have here is the live view. Put it at live, off, on, or auto. I leave it at off. Tap on it. This is for the photo style and tone. You can change it by scrolling on the screen. You have different setting that there. This you can do it when you're gonna do the editing. I will show it to you a little bit later. Or you can create a style here, and it's gonna keep the change. If I take a photo, it's gonna be with this setting. But the next one, it will keep it because we have preserved setting enabled in the camera app. If you want to reset it, just tap on the small circle here, and I will put it back to standard. Now we have the picture size, square 16 by 9. I leave it at 4 by 3. So that we have the exposure that we saw before. Just close it. And we have the timer. With the timer, as soon as you enable it, you're going to take a burst of 10 pictures. So you're going to take a picture of it with the burst at, now it's set up at 5 seconds. Okay, you're going to see a timer on it, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now I take the picture. When you want to see the picture, you tap on the bottom left. It's gonna bring you to the photo folder. See on the top left, it's right burst 10. If you tap on it, you have the 10 photo that you take in the burst. You can select one, and when you click done, you can keep everything or keep only the one favorite. Keep only the favorite. To close this, just click on the X on the top. Okay, now we're back in photo. The next option we have here is the RAW Max. This is when you want to take the best quality picture. The other one on the side is for the live view. When you tap on it, it's going to be in live. You take your picture in live view. If you enable RAW Max, either going to disable live view. You cannot have both at the same time. Like if I enable the live view, the raw max is disabled, and in live view you can have the style adjustment also. A little bit lower you have the macro option, the small flower. If you tap on it, the macro is enabled. So when you bring something close to the subject, like here, you're going to be able to go very close and to take a picture that would be sharp and clean. For the lens, by default, you have the 0.5x, the 1x. If you tap the 1x, we enable the different option in the setting. If I tap just one time on it, I have the 1.2x. After that, the 35mm 1.5x. After that, we have the 2x. This is the same sensor than the 1x, but it do a crop on it. And the 0.5x. When you are not in raw picture, you're gonna take your photo in HEIF. If you want to do a selfie, you can change the camera with the small circle with the arrow here on the bottom right. Tap on it, and you're gonna see yourself. It will take the front camera, but the image quality is gonna be on the 12 megapixel, and it's lower quality too. Back. Now we're gonna pass in the video mode. In video mode, you still have the flash. You can enable it. I never use it. You can adjust the exposure like before in photo mode. You can enable the ProRes log if you tap on it. In action mode, you are not shooting in 4K. You are shooting in 2.8K because it cropped to stabilize the video. And you can, after that, you can shoot in 24 frame, 30 frame, 60 frame. You cannot go in the 120 frame with the action mode. If you disable the action mode, with the codec HEVC, you are not in ProRes log. You can shoot in 4K at 24 frame, 30 frame, 60 frame, and 120 frame. But if you enable ProRes log, you're going to have a message. ProRes is not supported in 60 frame and 120 frame because you don't have an external hard drive. You need an external hard drive to show it in ProRes log. Click on OK. You're going to go back. Okay. When you shoot in HEVC in 120 frame per second in slow-mo, you have the option for the lens only on 1x and 2x. You don't have access to the other lens. If you shoot in ProRes log, you have the same option for the lens. One more thing I want to show you with the internal hard disk in ProRes log. I have a 1 terabyte hard disk at 24 frame and 4K. I can record for 147 minutes with the space I have left now. If I go in 30 frame, you can shoot 136 minutes. Now I will show you my setup with the USB-C. What I have is a small plate like this with a magnet. I put a Velcro on it on the back. This will help me to keep my SSD stable in the back of the phone. I just put it there. Next, I have the small connector that I made. This is in two parts. If you can see it, it's in two parts. Or you can use a small cable like this, or the cable that comes with the hard disk. With the small connector, it's doing a cleaner job, and you won't have the cable in your way. Now I connected the small connector here, like this. And then I connect the SSD. And that's it. You have a very clean setup. And you should see in ProRes log, if I tap on ProRes log, you can see at the bottom USB-C. Now in ProRes log with the USB-C with 1 terabyte hard disk, at 4K 24 frame, I can record 147 minutes for 1 terabyte. At 60 frames per second in 4K, max time is 59 minutes on 1 terabyte. And at 4K 120 frames per second, you're going to be able to record maximum time of 29 minutes with a 1 terabyte hard disk. So as you can see, it takes a lot of space and the files are very huge. And sometimes in your computer, it's going to be hard to edit it. When you are doing video, it's always good to lock the focus and exposure. This will prevent change during your recording. So I just press on it, on your subject, and hold it. You're going to see AAAF lock. So this means I can change it and the focus will stay at the same place and the exposure will stay the same. If you need to adjust the exposure, you have a small sun on the side. You can scroll it up or down and this will adjust the exposure on it. Now we are ready to record. In photo mode, you have the same setting. Okay, I adjusted the exposure. Okay, I will take my photo and we will go in the photo folder to edit our photo. If you want to close the application, you have a small X on the top right corner. You want to have information of your photo, just tap on this. It's a 24 megapixel to 3.2 meg. If I take the same picture in ProRAW, when you want to go out of this, just tap on the screen on the top and scroll down. I will go back in photo mode. I will go in ProRAW. So now I will take my picture in ProRAW. I will lock my focus on this red car. Take my photo. Go back in the photo mode. Okay, now, just to show it to you, the other photo was 3.2 meg, and this one is 76 meg. So it's a huge difference in file size, but you have a lot of better quality when you want to do editing. To edit the photo, you just have to tap here on this icon. To adjust it, you can do automatic adjustment, or you can do it manually by selecting each option for the color grading. If I take the other photo, that this one is in HEIF, like you see, the file size is 3.2 meg, it's a lot smaller. Just click on the setting. Now you have different options for the style. You have the same one that you have in the photo application. You can go in amber, gold, neutral, and you can, like if I take the amber, I can do some adjustment. Okay, click on it. After that, you have the option to copy it. If you tap there, you can copy the edit and paste it on different picture. That's it for today. If you want to see more video like this, just click on the link up here or in the description. See you in my next video. Bye.